Here she is again, doing an intro for another thing. So yes, this is everything neon. At one point during the summer, I decided I wanted to do everything in neon. So I bought a few things over a few weeks, and I tried to get all of the glow-in-the-dark things, the blacklight reactive ones. So this is me testing out those products and having a lot of fun. I don't know, I'll do a voiceover so I can talk about it, but I'm not sure. I think the thing that I've used out of this whole crop of neon stuff that I keep using are the KRINK squeezer markers. Those are the ones that I use the most for whatever reason. I've been trying to use the Poscas more, but I've not been using it. I think I might end up using them, but right now I haven't been using them as much as the KRINK markers. I don't know why that is, don't ask me, but yeah, so I hope you enjoy it. You'll hear me in just a second. I love you, bye! Hello, here we go. It's the first of many. I'm going to separate this into chapters so that you have the opportunity to watch by the kind of product that you want to review or see. So I just want to put a little disclaimer here. I recorded a lot of this in summer of 2025, and that intro you just saw, I recorded that in September of 2025, and it is now December of 2025. So I didn't remember any of this until I started cutting the video. Yeah, so this is the only real time that I've used these Crayola markers. This is the only time I tested it. I swatched them. I was not interested after I used them. I gave them to my kid, some of them to my kid. I kept the ones that glow in the dark, and that's pretty much what happened. So I'm going to swatch them all out. At the end, I'm going to show you what they look like under the black light. They are just typical Crayola markers. So if you like using them, great. If you don't like using them, also great. So I'll come back at the next chapter to do a little intro. Go ahead and just kind of watch me swatch them and see if there's something that you like. All right, well, have fun. I'll see you in a minute. Hey there, I'm back. We are on to the Karin markers. These are the neon Karin markers, obviously, because everything neon, etc. I'm going to swatch these ones out. I will say that I love Karin markers in general, and I love these colors, and I love them so much. I'm realizing now that I'm a little too precious with these ones, so I'm not using them a lot, which is a shame because I remember how much fun I had with these, so I might pull them out again and start using them again because I do think I have room for them. Again, I get very precious with them because I'm doing multimedia work, so I don't want to like ruin them with the multimedia, but then I don't end up using them and I regret not using them, and you know the journey I'm on. But they are beautiful to use. They are really good for writing. They're just a gorgeous pen. In general, the Karin markers are just delightful, the Brush Pro ones. These ones also, they're water-based like the Crayolas. Obviously the quality is much higher. They are very expensive. I don't know how much they are, but I remember being like, ooba, I got a coupon for this, good thing. So yeah, I sprayed them with some water. I'll, play with them as I would with watercolors, and then see what happens when the black light comes out, and see if anything kind of looks cool. That'll be up next, and then we'll go to I'll see you in the next chapter. Oh yeah, you know what's great is that if you put water down first and then you put the Karin marker in it, it's really nice. It works like a traditional watercolor in that way, instead of laying down the ink first and then doing the water. So yeah, I'm going to do the same thing now with the Crayola markers. I'm going to try the same method, where I put some water down and then put the yeah, it does the same thing. I should have done this right from the beginning. Oh, isn't it fun to play with markers? It's so fun. All right, I'm going to come back. I'll come back. I'll see you soon. So yeah, you can kind of see here the water dilution doesn't really preserve any of the black, like a little bit with the yellows, like the really bright ones. It does preserve a little bit of the glow in the darkness, but in general, it has to be at full strength to really work. Alrighty, so welcome to the Posca section. I love Poscas. I have been using, I had up until this point when I was reviewing these or when I was swatching them, I had used the 5M, which is the smaller version. It's the bullet tip. And I hadn't seen some of these other colors, like this pink. I love this pink. I use it all the time. So I like the 5N comes in the pink, the fluorescent red, the fluorescent orange, and I think fluorescent yellow. Yeah, fluorescent yellow. So the green is green, and the like that yellowish, like off, like over on the far right, you can see like that orangish color. I low-key love when people do this. They like, so that's all this is shots of me up close doing this, like trying to get the marker to bleed on camera, and like just it's very satisfying, and seeing the ink build up. I love that. So yeah, I love these markers. I don't use them enough. That's like the theme for this video. I don't use them enough. Yeah, so enjoy this bit. I'm just gonna go back and forth with these kinds of shots in every color. I'll come back for the section that we have KRINK, which is probably the best of these. All right, enjoy. Bye now. Alrighty, yay! KRINK. So what is KRINK? KRINK is a sort of graffiti artist company that creates things that are supposed to be used by street artists. I use a lot of products that are meant for street artists because they are, generally speaking, very opaque. They're not afraid to let out their ink, and I work so fast that markers can be problematic for me, but also sometimes paint doesn't really work either because it's coming out too fast. I can't get things where I want them to be. So these big markers with lots of product in them that like to come out really quick are my style. Right, because when you're a street artist, if you're bombing, you're going to need that ink to come right out and be as quickly as it can, so you can just make your art and move on. And that also happens to be how I generally work. Like, I want it to come out quickly, I want it to flow with me, I want it to go as quickly as possible. I love this pink, and I need to buy more because I used all of it. I used all the pink, I used all the yellow, I think, and that green. I'm coming close, and I'm coming close to the blue being done too. The black that came in this, you'll see, it's transparent, and I think it's just wet bad. I'm not really sure. But you can see how opaque and like beautiful each of these colors is. Yeah. I would say, like, out of all the kinds of markers that you can get as a street artist, I would not say that these are the best. They're not bad, and I do love that pink color, but I would say that my preference is something like Machine Studio or Infamy or Soul Tip or something like that. Even like I'll be honest, even like those ink bingo daubers, some of those are better than some of the KRINK products. These specific markers are good because they are pretty neon colors, and that, you know, that works for me. And also everything's coming out very quickly except for this yellow one is giving me crap right now. But I'm gonna come back at the next section because there's neon KRINKs and I have a lot of things to say about the quality on those ones. All right, we're back with these. These are the UV reactive KRINK markers. They are markers. They're called, sometimes they're called drips, sometimes they're called they're called all kinds of different things, I'll be honest. But they are just markers that just have a lot of product in them, and they usually are going to be very strong opaque colors. You know when you see street art and you see like words spelled out and you see them all drippy? That's what these do. That's why they're called drips. Um, these colors, I love them so much, so I was willing to put up with the quality of the paint in here. And also there's not a lot of UV reactive street art thingies, so I was just like, okay, that's fine. They were really hard. Like I used all of these except for a little bit of the blue. I used all of the colors. The problem that I had with them is the paint wasn't coming out well. It was really thick. It was like really difficult sometimes to get them out. So for a while, I used them like this, but then I took towards the end when I couldn't get enough out, I took airbrush medium where you can like thin out colors to use for airbrushes, but like not lose the pigmentation. And that's what I did with these to like thin them out because the paint got really gloopy and gross. And it worked out. And then I jabbed it with like I jabbed the dauber top with like a safety pin or something to like make a hole a little bit bigger, so it became easier to use. But even then, it was difficult. I would say in general, these kinds of markers from them are going to do that. They just like they suck a little bit. But the color was worth it, so I was really willing to put up with stuff. I'm willing to put up a lot with a lot, but you know, I made it work for me. If you like the colors, they are UV reactive. In the end, I'll show you what they look like. And yeah, if there was like any other brand that made these colors, I would totally just switch out. But they don't, and I don't know where to find them, so I'm just gonna go with it. Eventually, I'll probably end up making my own things with bottles, but I don't really want to. Like some of the places make way better versions of paint than I can. And you know, I don't know. I kind of love the way these turned out. The way this paint also is actually pretty cool. Like once it comes out of the bottle, let's see, see they're very reactive. The yellow and very reactive. So yeah. Thanks so much for stopping by. I appreciate your support. I'll see you in the future. Love you. Bye.